For most of us, history feels permanent, names carved into textbooks, borders drawn on maps, timelines that appear settled forever. We grow up believing that what we learn is the full story. But history carries a darker truth. Some people were not forgotten by accident. They were erased on purpose. Power has always feared memory. Because ideas outlive armies, and names can survive empires. When rulers could not defeat a person in life, they often destroyed them after death by removing their name, their work, and their existence from the record itself. History is not only written by winners, it is edited by those who remain in power. Today on Wikivedia Plus, we will uncover the historical figures whose names were deliberately erased from history. Let's dive in. Across civilizations, erasing a person became a weapon. In ancient Rome, this practice had a name: damnatio memoria. When someone was declared an enemy of the state, their statues were destroyed, their names scraped off monuments, and their faces carved out of reliefs. Coins were melted down, documents rewritten. Officially, it was as if they had never existed. Emperor Geta is one of the clearest examples. After being murdered by his brother, his image was systematically removed from public life. Family portraits were altered, his face vanished from stone. The goal was not revenge, it was control. Memory itself had to be eliminated. In ancient China, history was tightly controlled by the state. Court historians served the emperor, and what they recorded became truth. Philosophers who challenged imperial authority were often removed from official chronicles entirely. They were not defeated in debate, they were edited out. Their ideas survived only through forbidden manuscripts secretly copied and passed down in silence. As religions rose to power, erasure took on a new form. During the early Christian era, competing thinkers and belief systems were declared heretical. Their writings were burned, their names erased. Their followers silenced or absorbed. The version of belief that survived did so not only through faith, but through elimination. Centuries later, discoveries like the Nag Hammadi manuscripts revealed how many voices had been intentionally buried. Some erasures were quieter, but no less deliberate. Hypatia of Alexandria was one of the greatest intellectual figures of the ancient world. A philosopher, mathematician, and astronomer, she represented reason in an age of rising dogma. After her brutal murder, references to her work nearly disappeared. Her ideas were not disproven, they were buried. The threat was never her existence, but her influence. In other cases, erasure happened through substitution. Discoveries attributed to famous men were originally developed by others whose names never appeared in history books. Contributions were absorbed, renamed, reassigned. Not because of error, but because recognition itself was dangerous. As time moved forward, erasure became more efficient. In the 20th century, totalitarian regimes perfected the art of deletion. Photographs were altered, archives rewritten. People who once stood beside leaders vanished from images overnight. In the Soviet Union, being removed from a photograph often meant being removed from life, and later, from memory. Children grew up unaware that these people had ever existed. What becomes clear is deeply unsettling. Forgetting is rarely passive, silence is engineered. The people who are erased are almost always the ones who ask the most dangerous questions. They challenge authority, threaten narratives, or offer alternatives to power. And power rarely responds with debate, it responds with deletion. Even today, history is not safe. Digital records can be altered, search results can be buried. Algorithms decide what is visible and what disappears. The methods have changed, but the intention remains the same. History is not only what happened, it is what survived permission to be remembered. So the next time you read a history book, ask yourself a different question. Who is missing? Whose silence was manufactured? Whose name was too dangerous to survive? Because some people were not forgotten, they were removed. If this story made you question what you think you know, leave a comment with a historical figure you believe was erased on purpose. Subscribe to Wikivedia Plus and stay curious. Because the next story might be the one they never wanted you to hear.